Hello. We're doing this again. It's the Wynonna Earp Recap Podcast. Woo! Hopefully you're seeing us live. If not, we'll try it again. Welcome. I'm Yael Tygiel. We are live. That's great. This is Amber Plaster. We are on her channel. Hello, Amber.
Hello, I am finally seeing it downstream, so we are live on YouTube. We're at a new address, so I apologize for those of you who RSVP to the original one. It just didn't connect to the StreamYard. We'll retweet out. Actually, I'll retweet out the links right now. So excited to have you guys here, and you can also catch the replay of every single season on the links in the description below. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Amber, for putting up with technology for us. Kari Lane is here. Hello, Kari.
What's up, everyone?
Alexis Torres is here. Hello.
Hello.
I love this.
Yeah.
All right, we're jumping into season 4, episode 7. I would love to get your thoughts, ladies. Alexis, what did you think of this episode? We'll start with you.
It was great. There's a lot of glitter that I know Amber loves. There was a lot of shenanigery that I was happy with. Like I mentioned earlier, that I like that we started off with a Monster of the Week episode and not like deep dive into it, since it's been quite some time since we've watched the show. And I don't think it's like updated on Netflix yet for at least season 4 wise. So like it's kind of nice that we kind of had a sense of ease into the episode, or back into Wynonna Earp. So yeah,
absolutely. Kari, what'd you think?
Yeah, I agree. I like that it was Monster of the Week, and it just kind of brought us back. I was a little unsure at the beginning with the shenanigans, in the sense of like this kind of trope of the mismatched love, essentially almost adjacent to like mistaken identities, can be played out very poorly in shows and movies. But I think the show did a really good job of utilizing that to give us more character development, give us more information on different characters. And it was entertaining seeing different characters want to hook up with each other, which we will discuss.
Yeah. Amber, what did you think of this episode?
I absolutely loved this episode. I loved the amount of glitter that we had, and I loved the meaning behind the glitter. I am a huge fan of glitter. I'm a huge fan of love and Cupid and fantasy and lore. So it just was really, I mean, listen, there was a lot of fan service this episode, especially with the way hot mention.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with it. I'm super into fan service. So
I agree. So I think this was the perfect way to reintroduce us. It has been almost a year. So like, I think that had we been thrown right into the mythology of where we were, I personally would have been like, wait, who, what? So the idea of being like, remember who we are, remember what's happening, remember that Wynonna and Doc are mad at each other right now because of this situation, or not mad at each other, but they're not together right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciated that. I liked that we got a fun episode that also reminded us it's been a month. Here's what happened. Here's where we are. Here's what's going on, because so much has happened. I think it was the perfect way to do it in such a fun way. And I agree, the fan service was adorable. The way hot shout out was so cute. The wedding planning that we've been talking about for 2 seasons is really nice. So I really enjoyed this. Bunny, let's talk about Bunny. Let's jump in with Bunny. Thoughts on this Bunny fella? Bunny Loblo? Loblaw?
I love Alexis's face right now. It's nope.
I just like
nope.
there was so much like mixed feelings with Bunny in this episode, because obviously like we all know that we hate her. Like, come on, like it's not even a contest. But then like
she makes it so easy.
Yeah, she does. Especially that entire scene that when she first comes back, I was just like, I just want to just. Like, it was awful. And then all of a sudden she comes over with these giant faux roses. And I was like, what the hell? She's like, I haven't been gay for very long. I mean, not at all. And I was like, what is happening? And everything. And I love how she just like dropped the roses out the car. Like, I want
you to have them.
Yeah, just like threw them out. And I was like, what are you doing? And then like, yeah, it's just, and then of course with her scene at the very end, I was just like, okay, what are you okay? I'm happy that you're finally like cool with the two of them, kind of a little. Yeah, I was like kind of a little, and then also it looked like you were also trying to smash with
Nedley.
Yeah, and I was like,
Everyone was trying to smash, to be fair.
No, truth. But
I want
Nedley.
I want Nedley to be happy. I want Nedley to be with someone. I don't want it to be with Bunny.
No, God, no. No.
This
Nedley
town isn't
deserves to
that small that that's the only option for him. It's like, come on.
Yeah, like there's like introduce a different character if you need to. Jeez, like I just not Bunny. Literally anybody else.
Yeah, accurate. Let's talk about the big storyline of the episode, which was the Cupid, Dimitri, and this whole glitter love. What is true love storyline? I do appreciate how much it tied back in that Dimitri is Eamon's ex. Like I appreciated that, because up until that moment, I was like, what is this? Who is this guy and why is he bothering our people? But no, he's connected, which I appreciated. I think the storyline was fun, but I agree with you, Kari, that it could have gone wrong.
They did a nice fine line of the trope of that kind of like falling in love with everybody thing. But again, it made the sense of the characters, how they're connected and the purpose. And I was a little bit bummed that Waverly, I'm like, girl, you live in purgatory. Don't be making deals with anybody here. You never know.
Yeah, like I was like, how do you come on? We have been down this road so many times. How the hell did you think that this is just a casual conversation? I'm like,
right.
Bitch.
Yes.
I totally.
But in her defense, I am glad that she does finally get to the something's wrong relatively quickly, because where it would be a bad show is if she didn't realize till like the very end, but it's like at least the quarter mark where she's like, wait a minute, something's wrong. I'm like, okay, thank you.
I totally agree. I see we have some great chats going on about Bunny.
We do. We have people saying, I hate her as a person, but I love her character. The actress Jan Arden really rocked it as Bunny.
Oh, heck yeah. That's how you know that an actress is really like pulling it off, is that the fact that you just absolutely hate their character. Like, you know that you like believe like if this person does exist, which they do, that they're playing it really well. So kudos. For sure.
I believe Jan Arden, and I will allow the internet to correct me, is not only a singer-songwriter, but is Jan from the show Jan? Canadians? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I was going to say, I was like,
what?
I will admit, I had to look her up that when they were just excited that she was singing. I'm like, okay. I was like, oh, that's really cool to bring in the fact that she's a singer into the episode was really fun.
I knew she was a singer, because whenever the show does something random, like, let's put them on stage, let's put them in water, it's always on purpose. It's always because they have some secret skill, like singing or dancing or whatever. And I was like, I wonder if she's a singer in real life.
Yeah, the chat is confirming these things.
Yes.
For us.
Adorable.
Thank you.
Oh,
the
chat is saying she also had a hit 90s song, and that was the one that she sung.
Oh, well, hell yeah.
That's such a fun, like, bring the meta into the show.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. I also think the storyline of, everyone falling for Waverly, not far-fetched.
Not far-fetched at all.
I also think that Dimitri's treatment of her being like, that's not, you didn't do it right, sir, you didn't explain it.
Exactly.
Truth.
She didn't ask enough questions, but I'm glad she confronted him going, wait a minute, hold on.
Exactly. And you were just like, well, I'm just going to give this to you anyway. You'll figure it out as you go. It's like throwing a kid into the deep end and being like, swim! Like, what?
And the fact that Waverly left the glitter at home around Wynonna, it's like, come on.
I was like, again, Waverly, you are so much smarter than this. You know that she's like, you have some mascara? I was like, no, don't go through my purse. I will get it for you. I will go get here.
That was messy. When she said, here is the thing you shouldn't touch, it's in my purse. I'm like, woman.
Yeah.
It's like,
Are you aware of the people in your life? Because they are the messiest people on the planet.
Yeah.
Well, in her defense, I guess, playing devil's advocate for her, she just sees the good in everybody. So she can't think the worst thing in people first.
Okay, I totally get that, except that up until that moment, Wynonna had been drunk all episode.
I was going to say she's literally been drinking and or drunk the entire episode.
So maybe not the time.
No. Never trust Wynonna.
Yeah, I like the chat. Earp theorist. Also, don't trust Wynonna. Yeah.
I feel like Wynonna would say, "Don't trust Wynonna."
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Absolutely. Let's talk about sexually aggressive Wynonna for a moment, because I think it's so amusing that it was towards Eamon and not towards Doc, which is what we would expect.
He wasn't around, so it kind of worked. But also that I thought it was funny when Eamon was like, "I'm going to go upstage and hide behind this empty stage with a single pole." I was like, "Where are you going?
Where are you going?"
Like,
but one of my favorite things of the episode is kind of how man, they covered a lot. If anyone here has been not just in love, but fallen in love, you do real stupid things. Real stupid, messy things. Like, I made a photo album of all these things I thought you would like that's way too intense without your permission. I'm like, yep, that checks off. Following people, hiding behind things that so you can, like, all of the things, like them following her into the bathroom and not even thinking, like, maybe she won't like this. That's such a good, like, heavy explanation of falling in love, is like just like no boundaries, pushing forward in like this really childlike way. And I think they did a really good, funny, also accurate job of showing that. And I think my favorite, I did a little fleet on Twitter of it, of Nedley and Doc slow dancing together.
Oh, it was so sweet. I was like, why do I ship this weirdly?
Because it was so pure.
It was really cute. They were
adorable.
Enjoying each other's company and just go. Oh, it was nice. But I agree with you, Amber, because like it also kind of showed that to me, I think that if you're able to fall in love and there's no, like, I don't know the phrase, but there's nothing blocking you, or like your conscience not telling you, like, hey, yo, like, I think you're going a little too far. It does come off kind of stalkery, and I like that it was kind of like a horror movie angle where she's like freaking out in the stall and everyone's kind of reaching over and yelling at her, because like people forget that love is actually a very powerful emotion and feeling, and like I said, it can end up turning into the fine line between love and obsession, where it can become dangerous, and that's where like I think that's what Cupid was trying to say in a sense. And I was just like, all right.
I think that's what he was trying to say. Yeah. And I think he was triggered by how happy she was. And he was really?
Yeah. Come on. You can't tell me that we've all been through it when we've seen that one couple that's super lovey-dovey and you're just like, You know what I mean? So like, I get it. But at the same time, it also shows like you shouldn't hate on that. Like just be happy for them. And
love is a powerful weapon, as we've seen. The chat is asking how we feel about Dimitri. How do we feel about Dimitri?
I thought it was super interesting introducing another like creature, supernatural being into this space, and it does feel like a magnet that everybody seems to be there. It was also one that's, all things considered, not a dangerous threat. It's not necessarily a monster trying to eat people or rip up their body or something like that. Well, in different ways, more like ripping off people's clothes, but it's not as dangerous as it could be. I would be curious to know more about him. I thought it was interesting, his introduction, because at first it was like, should we know who this person is? Because on the subtitles it says Dimitri. If you watch it with closed captioning, I'm like, who's Dimitri? Have we met him? Should I remember this character? And then it's like, oh, and then it's like, of course, when you see the wings, I didn't necessarily jump to it's Cupid at first, but yeah, as you mentioned, Amber, I like the idea also that it's multiple, the idea there's more than one Cupid. And of course, he's lost his love, and so he's really
Cupid.
Grumpy.
Yeah.
And I also like that he put in the trope of like we're not all this like chubby little baby.
Yes.
I was like, but you know, stereotypes. I was like, wow.
He had just a little bit of like grumpiness that was kind of like very relatable without him being like someone that you're just like you would write off and be like, all right, fine, you've given up on life.
And that's the thing is that I really love villains that you can relate to. I mean, for example, like Killmonger in like Black Panther, like you know that they're not approaching, like their execution is incorrect. Like it's no, but like their reasoning behind it, you're like, that makes sense.
I totally agree. I think that, like I said earlier, I love that it connected. I love that Dimitri was Eamon's ex. And I think it's really interesting because Eamon was talking about how, Wynonna's killing his clients. Like there are very few creatures available still. But the idea that she would never, I think, kill a Cupid. Like I think that wouldn't be a monster that would be on her list.
No, not really.
Amber, you disagree?
She would kill anybody.
I mean, true.
I mean, she's not going to be like, okay, here's a vampire, a werewolf, and a Cupid. The Cupid's the one I have to kill first.
Right. I don't think she has a bloodlust, but I also think she's chaotic neutral.
I think right now she kind of does.
I mean, but she's also like...
I wouldn't put it past her, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Look, she'll shoot anything. I'm just saying that it doesn't feel like something she's going after right now.
Yeah,
would be
that's the bottom of the list of priorities.
Going after a lot of things.
Let's talk
after the other stripper at the club.
I want to talk about her I want to say weird, kinky. Weird is not a judgment. Way that she's approaching Eamon with the gun all the time.
I think it's that
super into it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think it's more of like a power
and
thing.
Eamon is too.
Right.
Oh, he says too. He's like, "How'd you know my kink?"
Yeah, and I was like,
"Yeah,
saw it coming."
That is a man that is very used to, has no sexual shame. Yep. And is very comfortable with dom submissive relationships, and she knows it. And also, she had to remind him, "Hey, I can still kill you. You're messing up my life. I can still kill you." And he's like, "But you won't, though." And she's like, "I know."
Teasing is what we're here for.
Yeah. This show, I love how not just all sexualities, all kinks, all things are welcome.
Yeah, we don't kink shame in this house. Like that's not how this works, you know? Like that's why I think it's interesting to see that dynamic too of like Wynonna just throwing herself out there. Also, I will say that I love Wynonna. I love Wynonna with all my heart and soul, but you know that we've been in quarantine for so long because when she put her tongue on that railing, I was like, I was like freaking out.
To be fair, I feel like this episode, it was a special love letter to people in quarantine who have been socially distancing for way too long because we all miss being able to touch one another.
Yeah, they had that. If you go to the if you didn't see it on the live on YouTube, you can watch behind the scenes, and they mentioned how the slow dance hugging, how it meant so much to all of them. Because like I haven't hugged someone in so long, and you're just like, I feel that.
I feel that.
Or I wish I could. So yeah, if you haven't watched those, I do recommend checking them out on the Sci-Fi YouTube page. They have some cool behind the scenes clips. So you're just like,
but I do agree with Alexis that the licking very much made me uncomfortable. I was like, just because of COVID.
Even pre-COVID, COVID quarantine, I'd be like,
yeah, I'm like, girl, I'm like, especially because like it's not like it's a club, and you know nightclubs are nasty. The nasty. Like I can't.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this is going way too off topic, but I feel like anytime you lick anything, you are asserting dominance.
No, for sure. No, for sure. I agree.
Whether it's you're licking blood off of a knife or you're licking like it's always incredibly dominating.
Yeah, and we know Wynonna is that type of
and Eamon is into it. Eamon is here for it.
He's like, okay, like great.
I almost had a hard time with Eamon falling for Waverly because I was like,
They really push the boundaries with people jumping into who they fell in love with. Also, I know it's cheesy, but those like the wind blowing and the change of the shot and like Waverly just be like it's just like it was so ridiculous that I was
okay. Wait, everyone, give your like
no
Waverly shot. Ready?
No.
Ready?
Absolutely not.
2.
I can't. I'm in love with you. I can't.
She made my heart skip a beat.
I fall in love.
I'm a married woman. I'm a married woman. I'm a married woman.
All right, let's move it along here.
Okay, moving along.
Let's talk about I think there are just a few storylines that are continuing here. When Doc is over with Cleo, we do get a reminder of what happened with the Clanton family. We do get a reminder of why he's not happy with Wynonna. We do get a reminder about Hot's deal that got them out of the garden. All of this, this is why I appreciated that the episode wasn't like moving us forward, because I was like, wait, remind me. And Cleo was there to do all of it. So what did we think about Doc and Cleo and everything that Cleo reminded us and where we ended up with her?
I want to give her as much sympathy as I can, because at the beginning you're like, oh, and the way he's like, essentially, it's fake romance in a way, but she's just like, you feel for her. But at the end, I'm like, ooh, I don't know how much we can trust you right now, but I was happy you got a little bit of affection at the beginning. And they were an interesting pairing. Oh, Alexis is like, nope. I appreciated their moment. But even, the part where he's on the porch with her and he said he's always been such a good sidekick. I was like, oh,
that hurt.
Ooh, that's a sweet thing and kind of sad at the same time.
That hit.
Yeah,
it hit.
Interesting. I think sometimes your strengths, and like he knows that's where he does best, and he's not the hero of the story. He is there to support other people, specifically the women in his life, and I think I think that's not necessarily sad. I think he knows.
Yeah, I think it's more along the lines of just the way he delivered it made it seem like he felt hurt about it. But at the same time, he's also, I agree with you that he's technically lived out his story as being the hero or the main character. It's now time for him to step aside and be helpful, and supporting characters, or as my nerd senses would be, the healer, is very helpful, and they're still important to the group. But I also understand why he probably feels just a little bit of sadness, but it's not something that he probably feels all the time. It's just
not like we pity him or anything like that. More just can we give you a hug, and we like you and appreciate you, and we need you as the support. So it's like, oh.
I liked the bit between, first of all, I kind of forgot about her. And she was so messed up looking, I didn't recognize her.
Right?
So I was like, who's this new character? Oh. I loved it. I love any chance that we get to see Doc be Doc.
Yep.
In all of his toxic ways. Super into it. When he was like, "Don't cry, girl," I was like, so like I'm super into it. And then at the end when she's like, like, who wants to eat some evil bia? I was like, oh yeah, she's this girl. So I'm into it. I don't think she's gonna be able to pull one over on the group for that much longer. I'm not too worried about her, but I also wouldn't underestimate her, because most people underestimate her, like her mom or whatever. So also can we talk about how we gave the job to, what was her name, Elizabeth,
what job?
The youngest,
Rachel.
Oh yeah,
Rachel.
the young girl,
Rachel. We gave Rachel a job, and then we told her not to go in the basement, which of course is the first thing that you're gonna do when you get told not to do something.
But her dude can talk now, which is like, oh, they've made progress? Because before those creatures couldn't talk. couldn't
I know.
communicate. So
Yeah, I'm very fuzzy on the details of how this is working because I know that like they can't see him again, which makes sense because it's been so long. But I was like, I don't remember them being able to talk. But then she let him go, and I was like, oh wait, why? Why would you do that?
I had wondered if maybe some of whatever was controlling him is gone because his mother's gone, and she's the one who did the spell. So maybe that shifted the rules for him.
We will never. Well, that's not true. We will eventually find out. I mean, right now we don't know.
Yeah, I think what's going on with Billy and what their family
Dynamic,
spell thing is. We'll learn more about that as we continue, I assume. But I do think it's interesting that Nedley was dumb enough to tell Rachel.
Like,
Rachel,
don't
who
tell
kept
a teenager that. Like, what?
Specifically, the girl that like you had to remind she couldn't drink. Like every time you had to remind her.
Woo. Yeah. You can have
her mom died relatively recently. She is without any real guidance in the world. And also, hey, this is purgatory.
And it's the one friend. She had one friend, and now she has nobody. No friends, I guess, because she does have the herbs.
Friends her own age.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing Nedley pointing out, too, of being at school, because to be around people of your own age. Because, I mean, she does live with, she's with a group, but they're definitely not, the same.
Yeah,
too many different things, not the same as her.
And it's also, we love the Earps. We love them very much. They're also not the most stable family to get your life back together.
No, really?
So, at least Nedley tried to be like, okay, I understand your situation. We're all in a crappy situation. I'm going to try and give you advice because I know the girls won't do that. So, not like in a bad way. It's just they have their own problems that they're kind of dealing with right now. So,
I forgot to say earlier, but I did love the detail of the ripped out angel wings on Cupid.
Oh, yes.
As soon as he turned around, I was like, Cupid.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, for me, he was some sort. I was like, okay, so he's some sort of angel. And then as soon as they started talking about love, I was like, oh, this is a Cupid episode. Okay.
Yeah, I'm with Alexis. I didn't get it till he started talking, but before then, she's like, I know him, and I was like, is this another angel? Is this someone she met in the garden? What's happening?
Yeah. As soon as she said, I know him, I was like, angel, Cupid. Because
he could have had demon wings. We don't know.
Not in this universe. No. Not in this universe.
We do know. We do.
Not with Waverly. With Wynonna.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
If Wynonna said, I know you, I would have been like, what? One sister attracts one group, the other sister attracts another group.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I love that detail, and I also thought maybe Waverly's gonna sprout wings, which I was excited for, and then she didn't.
Yeah, I wanted more information about that. Like, if he can
recognize angel, like, can you sense a fellow angel? Which I'm surprised he didn't notice she's different.
I think he did. That's why he gave it to her.
Yeah, I don't think he would have just given it to a random person.
I don't think so either.
I feel and just like gave it to her,
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't know it's specifically because she's part angel, but more just there's something there. I trust something else.
Yeah. I don't think he knew specifically what it was. He just felt something besides obviously the gross love. I mean, it's not gross, but like from his perspective, what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Well, any final thoughts on this episode before we get into prediction?
Let's see. So we did have someone in the chat mention that it seems like the Reapers that Eamon is missing in his bar might be all corralled with with
Cleo's little basement.
The basement.
Or
well, I definitely thought it was because Wynonna killed all of them.
It might not be because of Wynonna's handiwork. It might be because a Clayton is collecting them.
Oh,
interesting.
I like that.
I did not think about that. Okay.
I definitely thought
they've mentioned a few times that all the monsters are missing.
That is true. I definitely assumed that it was Wynonna's drunken shenanigans, but
but if you remember, she only just recently got her peacemaker back.
Yeah,
but it's been a month
of her drinking.
But she was like running around killing things, so maybe
I just assumed.
I mean, that's what they want us to
just assume.
Maybe
true.
both. You know, it's they're being collected and she's killing them, so then there's less for her to get, but she hasn't thought maybe.
I mean, who knows? She could have killed like maybe a couple, but then then Cleo's just been collecting more.
And how is she collecting them and guiding them down there without?
I'm assuming we'll find out at some point.
I thought that Cleo's dungeon was full of like Clanton family members.
Oh, okay.
Because that's like that's what they're supposed, right? Like Billy is whatever they're supposed to turn into.
Yeah.
I think they have the ability to do that to their own family members.
Yeah.
So that tracks.
So that's what I thought that was.
That makes sense.
Oh, and then the fact that he comes back and she's like, "Welcome back," and can recognize that it's him.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Interesting. These are really fascinating theories. So we might as well get into our
wait, hold on. Before that, I saw in the chat, and a good point too, is I enjoyed the moments with the love spell where it didn't quite work or work too much. So Wynonna and Doc had their own little moment of even once it was done, they still felt what they felt. And with Doc and Nicole, where he was like, nope, and moving on. So I was kind of interesting that even with the spell on them, different relationships were like, yes or no, and could supersede what that power was on them.
That was really interesting to me as well.
It reminded me that I really loved the moment where they're explaining to Bunny and she's like, I'm fine with lesbians or whatever she says. And Nicole is like, he's bisexual.
I thought that was nice.
It's very important. And I think it was great that they did it. Yeah. All right. Now predictions?
Yes.
Okay, predictions. I missed the lighting and the sound cues. I'm gonna be honest. It's fine. Anyone want to start?
I am looking forward to the next episode because it's going to be all about Halloween, which is my favorite holiday. So instead of it being like Christmas in July, we're going to have Halloween in March. Fine with that. Super fine with that. And I predict that since it's going to be Halloween and there's going to be disguises, that we are going to see a resurgence of Reapers disguising themselves as Halloween costumes.
Ooh, okay.
All right.
I'm curious how many more people have moved back, because it seemed like people left. So how many people have come back and are now in town? And yeah, I love the idea of it's Halloween because we'll have people in costumes, so you won't really know if they're whatever they're presenting themselves to be. Ooh, maybe it goes into that, however people are presenting themselves and like learning truths about people. I hope it's another Monster of the Week with like a little bit of lore, because we only have 6 episodes, so we can't get too deep into lore. And
I mean, I agree with you on that. Yeah.
Like maybe this will be more with like what Cleo's doing and maybe something else.
Alexis?
I agree with Earp Theorist in the chat of the whole Earp sister-centric episode, especially because if you watch the preview, Waverly's like, I need a sister like day. And so I feel like because of what Wynonna's going through, Waverly's getting ready to get married, things tend to kind of separate. So she's kind of like, hey, before, I take this huge live event, we should spend time together. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of, not oversharing, that's not the correct term, but there's gonna be a lot of bonding happening through some stuff, probably bringing some light to Wynonna's whole problem, maybe a little bit of Waverly, because maybe she's getting not like cold feet, but like usually anybody who starts getting into that kind of mindset of like getting married and going through that, there's like itty bitty little fears that don't mean anything, that she could be also going through. So maybe she's like, especially because we kind of saw that oh my God, Officer Hot is kind of like Nicole. Thank you, Jesus. She was kind of like, oh, I've already been through this. I really don't want a big wedding. And so that could also affect their relationship in a sense of like Waverly's been waiting to have this like big princessy kind of wedding, and Nicole's just kind of like, So
I also noticed that, and I was like, well, if Waverly's that, first of all, it tracks that Waverly wants a princess wedding.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they didn't just ignore that. But also, it also tracks that Nicole wouldn't want a big to-do. But I think actually, I would guess that her whole life has been like, don't look at me because I'm a lesbian. I don't want to stick out. I just want to be a cop. I just want to live my life. And so I wonder how much of that is her just trying to like protect herself and not even looking at what she wants in terms of romance or a wedding. So I'm interested to see how she grows with the wedding and how much she allows and how much she's comfortable with. And I don't know if we'll get to see that in the next episode or not.
No, I definitely think it's going to be a consistent thing, because I'm assuming we're not going to get the wedding until either the very last episode or the second to last episode at least. But I definitely feel like that's going to be a pretty big argument at some point where it'll blow up, and then Nicole will eventually say why she doesn't want a big wedding. Not saying that they're going to break up, but Waverly's just going to she's going to have a breaking point at some point and just be like, this is what I want. Why can't you give me what I want? And then Nicole will be like, because of blah, 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 blah. And everyone's like, oh my God. And
it's interesting because the end of this episode, they said I guess
thought they're the medium.
We're going to compromise, which I remember thinking did we even talk about it? Because I don't think we did. Yeah. So I think that I think you're all right that it's going to build and there'll be some sort of boom, and then they'll whatever. But I
feel like there was something when we were talking about the lady with the tarot cards, and Nicole was talking about the wedding. Yeah, and she was like, "Oh my God, you're such a Capricorn," and she was like, "What?" And she was talking about not wanting anything fancy, and I was like, "I think we remember talking about her not being romantic enough or something." I feel like there was something about that before.
Well, we didn't get a full sense of how aware people were under the spell, once they came out of it, because Nicole just has this well, that was weird because she went through making a wedding planning book. And so now she's experienced it and knows what Waverly wants and her own choices. So maybe now once she's pulled back from that goes, oh, okay, I get it. Let's find a compromise where we both can feel content with our choice.
Yeah, exactly. Or like you said, if she sees that, they'll be like, you made a book and everything. And she's like, yeah, but I was under a spell. That's different. You know what I mean? It's not going to fully go into it, but I'm hoping that we don't have to get the typical, we're breaking up and then we're coming back and we're breaking up. Obviously that's not how Wynonna Earp writers are. So I'm really glad that if it does get resolved in the next episode, that would be freaking great. So I
don't think we're going to break up, but I definitely I think the wedding is going to be the finale. I think that's going to be the big ending.
Yep.
Do you guys think the wedding is going to be at the bar?
Yeah.
Probably.
Or the homestead.
I hope it's not. I hope it's at the homestead, but I think it's going to be at the bar.
I mean, makes sense. It's the other prediction. I was going to say, I'm like, Wynonna would probably like it there because then she's like, booze. So,
honestly,
or have the ceremony at the homestead and the party's back.
Yep. Yeah. So just a good in between for sure.
Kari Lane.
We had the engagement party at the bar. We've had every party at the bar.
Yep.
Kind of where we have a party. All right. I think that's it for this episode of Wynonna Earp. Thank you so much to everyone who's in our chat. Can we give out some shout outs to people who are here?
Yes. Shout out to Aurora, Earp Theorist, Kenzie, Kenneth. Thank you guys so much for being here. I am so beyond lucky to have you guys in my life. I cannot believe this podcast has been going for 4 or 5 years strong now. And it all happened because of B Daily, to be honest, who is not here, but I'm sure she will watch the replay. I cannot tell you how much I love Earpers. It blows my mind, this community. So thank you guys so much for being here, and we will see you next week.
But until then, we want to make sure you know where to find us. So make sure you've subscribed to this channel for sure, because this is where we're going to be doing our show. And until next week, Kari, where are you and what are you up to?
Yes, you can find me. There we go. Kari D. Lane. You can go follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and over on my YouTube channel, we're going to be talking American Gods. And speaking of desires and true personalities, this recent episode really covered that, which was really beautiful. So that will be today. But otherwise, I also cover anime as well. So a little bit of everything on all those. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up.
Yeah. Alexis, where are you? What are you up to?
You can find me right there. But I also have a gaming channel. It's at Squee Queen. That's SQUE, 3 E's, Queen. And I've been streaming for about almost a year now. But I mostly play a lot of Japanese RPGs, a lot of co-op games with friends. And I have
on Twitch?
On Twitch, yeah. So you guys can find me there at twitch.tv/squeakqueen. And there's a bunch of socials there as well. So yeah.
Amber.
Yeah, you guys can find me here because you're on my channel. The replay will also be on a Wynonna Earp playlist, so you can relive the glory all together. I also stream Monday through Friday on Twitch right now, and I'm currently obsessed with a game called Genshin Impact.
Yeah, that's the good stuff right there.
Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing you all next Monday, where we will be live streaming this again. Yael, where can we keep in touch with you?
I'm everywhere at Yael Tygiel. Yep, that's where it is. But more importantly, I have a new show called Have You Tried Not Being a Podcast? It is a queer pop culture show. If you couldn't get that from the name, check it out over on that hashtag show on YouTube or on my socials. I've tweeted about it and I'm happy to do it again. Also, usually Mondays and Wednesdays, right after this, I will be streaming on twitch.tv/Yael Tygiel. Right now I'm playing Super Nintendo Zelda: A Link to the Past. But today I'm not streaming, so not today, but go follow and next week for sure and Wednesday for sure.
And Wednesday. Cool.
Yes. Cool. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Yay!
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
I gotta get this.
Amber's got to push the button.
I gotta push the button.